What is your favourite video game?
The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Spider-Man.
Chrono Trigger.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Little Nightmares.
A lot of people play video games. A lot of people. In the UK alone, 93% of children play video games regularly, and 7 out of every 10 households are homes that play video games. We are at the point in society where video games are considered to be on the same level of influence as other forms of entertainment, medium and art, like TV, cinema, books and music. So why has the world become so decisive about whether they are a bad influence or not? Are video games a bad influence on people?
No, not really.
Not necessarily.
Not generally.
No.
Depends on the game.
The first video game that was considered violent by the public was the 1976 arcade game Death Race, where you run over gremlins for points. People considered it violent as you could hear a screech from the gremlins as you ran them over, and a gravestone would appear on their spot. Obviously this was tame, even for the time, but the first worldwide and loud controversy of the gaming industry was in 1993, when both Mortal Kombat and Doom were released. Both were scrutinised by the US Congress for their realistic and bloody violence. Parents felt that it was too easy for young children to get their hands on these violent games.
Let me say for myself, I'd like to be able to pass a law saying you can't produce this stuff anymore.
So the ESRB rating system was introduced, working similarly to the film age ratings. Even the UK has its own system called the PEGI rating system, which goes from 3 to 7, 12, 16 and then 18. However, nowadays, games like GTA 5 and Call of Duty are still being scrutinised for being too violent and too easy for children to get their hands on. But is it as easy as they say? If a child was to play a violent video game or purchase one, whose fault is it?
The child.
The parent. It's mainly the parent's fault.
The child or the game company if they haven't established the boundaries and triggers well enough.
I think it's their parents, because their parents should be responsible for the media they consume.
Statista found that 72% of people who play video games are 18 or older, and the ESA found that the average age for a gamer is 34 to 36. There are no numbers on how many children play and buy video games that are above their age rating, and there is a good reason for that. It's impossible for them to purchase a game that is over their age rating. Any shop that sells any form of entertainment is bound by the law to not sell a product to someone below its age rating. So how are these children able to get these violent video games? Their parents, obviously. The same people who blame these forms of media.
You believe that these violent video games, you think he's addicted?
Yes.
Are the same ones enabling their child to continue playing them and ignore the obvious ratings on the boxes.
And where's he get that money?
My PayPal account is on his Microsoft.
You know, I knew if I just kept asking questions, she was eventually going to give it up.
Now, if your child is mature enough to understand not to copy these actions in a Doom game and know it's all fake, then I think they're okay to play it. But it's clearly not right to give a 6-year-old the newest copy of Grand Theft Auto. Does playing video games lead to violence?
Depends on the type of game.
Not generally.
No. Not necessarily.
No, not really.
Jefferson County 911. Yes, I'm a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window.
On the 20th of April 1999, students Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold shot and killed 12 of their peers and a teacher at Columbine High School. The event caused worldwide coverage and many people pondering what caused the tragedy. Was it a lack of gun control? The frustrations of their school? Or even the bowling game that they played that same morning? Well, the media didn't think so. They found that the boys just so happened to play violent video games, so they latched onto that as the key reason for their aggression. Aaron Drummond and his team of researchers at New Zealand Massey University conducted a meta-study over 28 previous studies observing a correlation between video games and aggression since 2008. Their research showed that there was no significant correlation between video games and aggression. Video games are clearly not the cause of violence in adolescence, they're just as non-impactful as films and TV. It seems that whenever a new form of media is introduced, people will use it as a scapegoat for their social issues. It happened with films, then with TV, and now video games.
And can you name a video game that has a good influence on people?
Minecraft, because it promotes creativity.
Probably Professor Layton, as, well, it's a puzzle game and it can lead to more smarter people.
Minecraft promotes creativity. City Skylines, because it teaches you about town management and creativity.
Minecraft, because it brings people together.
Media like to use video games as a scapegoat. That has become more obvious to the public in more recent times. But no one ever talks about the games that have become a good influence on people. Minecraft encourages creativity. Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright encourage problem-solving skills. There are role models for children like Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, who teach their children good morals and non-violent ways of solving conflicts. Video games have the capability of reaching our souls like no other medium. We don't just read what people do or watch them, we are that person. And while, yes, putting said person in certain situations can be problematic, I just cannot see how the far reach of the gaming industry is such a bad thing. Games can be a good influence, and there's no way we should let the bad press of Mortal Kombat or Grand Theft Auto to change that.